Hello, everybody, and welcome to your first day of summer learning. In math, we're going to be working on fractions. And some of y'all are probably like, Miss G, I am the fraction master. That's amazing. That's great. I can't wait for you to show what you know. But hey, it doesn't hurt to review fractions, and you may even learn a new way to look at fractions, which is really awesome. So with that being said, let's dive on in. So we're going to understand what a fraction is. And in this think it through area, they give us a question. How can we describe equal parts? Fractions are numbers that tell about equal parts of a whole. A fraction is named by the number of equal parts. One of 3 equal parts is 1/3. One of 4 equal parts is 1/4, and so on. 1/3 and 1/4 are fractions. There are 2 parts to a fraction. The bottom number is the denominator. It tells us how many equal parts are in the whole. The top number is a numerator. It tells us how many equal parts you have. All right, here's a quick little trick you can use if you have trouble remembering where the denominator is and the numerator, okay? So the denominator starts with a D, okay? Now think of the word down. It starts with a D as well. So down, denominator, you always know it's on the bottom. It's always down, okay? So keep that in mind for later. Now they drew us a rectangle and they split it up into 3 equal parts. Okay, even though it's a rectangle and they split it up, they're still in 3 equal parts and it's still an entire whole triangle. So we know those 3 parts are what makes the entire triangle, which is the whole triangle, okay? And they shaded in 1 of them. That's how many you have. They put the 1 on top. Now, if you look over here, they went ahead and labeled the numerator and the denominator and made the fraction 1/3. That same rectangle picture represents 1/3. You have 1 shaded part out of 3 equal parts that make that entire whole triangle. Now, let's give you a more real life example right here. So they gave us one in this think area. Fractions always show equal parts. To use a fraction to tell about the parts of a whole, all the parts must be the same size. Think about sharing a cake with some friends. You cut the cake into pieces that are the same size, so it's fair. So they give us 2 pictures of cakes, and they're obviously cut a little differently. So we're going to look into that. We're going to see how many parts are in this cake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. There's 6 and they are cut equally. Now we're going to look at this cake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it has the same amount of cuts and pieces, but remember, fractions always show equal parts. And we're left with this cake that is the only one that shows that, hey, they're cutting it fair and everybody is going to have the same amount of cake on their plate. Now, over here, there's some words next to it, and we're going to go ahead and read them. There are 6 equal parts. Yes, we found that out by counting them and also seeing that they are equally cut. These parts are in 6. So each part is 1/6. So each one of these pieces is 1/6 of a cake. Now this one, they have some writing over here, so let's see what that's all about. All the parts are not the same size. Yes, we figured that out when we counted them. We were like, whoa, that's kind of off. Now we're off to the second page. We come to another think, and it says unit fractions help us understand other fractions. A unit fraction has 1 in the numerator. 1/4 is a unit fraction. It names 1 part of a whole that has 4 equal parts. So they have 1/4 shaded in out of this entire whole. If you know the name of 1 part of the whole, you can count to name more parts of the whole. Look at the rectangle below. It has 4 equal parts. Each part is 1/4. The rectangle has 3 parts shaded. 3 1/4 is 3/4. When you count the shaded parts of this rectangle, you say 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. 3/4 of this rectangle is shaded. So I'll go ahead and highlight it. 3/4 of it. This is what they're talking about. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. You can also model unit fractions on a number line. From 0 to 1 is 1 whole. So each tick mark represents 1/4 of the distance from 0 to 1. Since each length is 1/4, the third mark is 3/4. So to use a number line with fractions, and we're going to use this same example, you have 3 1/4 filled in, and we know 1 is a whole number, and that is the entire rectangle. If it was completely full, it'd be 1 whole. So we have 1/4 filled in, 2/4 filled in, and then our 3/4. So that would show us that 3/4 of that rectangle is shaded. Now we come down to the reflect part, and I really want y'all to pay attention to this part and understand what's going on in it, because in your practice sheets, you're going to have to write exactly what's going on or how you would do this. So this is a good way to get some information on how to do those practice sheets that you're going to get. So for reflect, it says Mike draws a long rectangle. He wants to color 3/8 of the rectangle blue. How many equal parts should he make? What fraction names each part? How many parts should he color? Notice there's 3 questions. You need to answer all of the questions that you're given. So we're going to think about it. We're going to break it down. And this is how you should break it down as well when you look at these. He wants to draw a long rectangle. Okay, rectangle, got it. But he wants to color 3 out of 8 of them. So if you need to, you can draw on the worksheets that we give you. So for example, I'm going to write, okay, I have a long rectangle. I need 8 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we have 8. Okay, obviously my drawing doesn't show that it's perfect. That's okay. Now he wants to color 3 out of 8 of them. Okay, so 3/8 blue. So I'm going to go, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we did that. And now we come down to our question. How many equal parts should he make? So how many equal parts did he make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can look at your drawing, or you can even look at the fraction they gave us, 3/8. You know 8 is a denominator, and you know that's how many make the entire whole rectangle. So you're going to put Mike will need to make 8 equal parts. And if you're not sure how to spell something, I can tell you that it's going to be in the question. So always look back at the question. So equal parts, that's right there if you're unsure how to spell equal. Now we're going to look at the second question they give us. What fraction names each part? What they're asking, even though this sounds kind of weird, they're asking what each of these squares within the rectangle are called. What are their names? So we need to go back to think, okay, how many squares do I have that are cut equally within this rectangle? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that's our 8 total. So if I wanted to draw it, for example, or write down my information, I can. That's totally fine. You can do that on your practice sheets. So we have 8 total. That's going to go at the bottom. It's going to be your denominator. But I need to know what these are called individually. Easy peasy. We just did this earlier when we counted them. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, and I can keep going all the way to 8/8, which would be 1. So I already said it, 1/8. That's one of these. And I can write it in there, or I can write it to the side, however you want to do it. So now I can go back and go, okay, I know the answer. Each fraction part is called 1/8. Now I can look at my last question. How many parts should he color? We already did that. We did it and didn't even know that we would have to write it in. So how many did we color in? 1, 2, 3. Mike should color in 3 parts. And that's how you will answer any questions that are listed within your practice that look similar to this. You can always look back at this video before you do that. And even practice on your own. If you want to get out a piece of paper and try it out on your own, or even pause the video and do it before I write it out, I think that's great practice. But this is what I'm looking for. Obviously, it does not have to be this perfect, but you do need to make sure you answer all of the questions. All right, until next time, see you then.